What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. Got Keelan Martinez here of Revive Deck Restoration. What's up, brother?
Good, how are you?
Good, my man. Good. So, man, you called the meeting. I'm looking at your notes here. Doing some decent monthly revenue. How long have you been in business?
2.5 years,
Very
started
nice.
2021, like midway in July.
Okay.
Uh, was working full
Right,
time.
right, right in the midst of COVID,
Yeah,
dude. It's crazy. What's wrong with you, bro?
yeah. But I was working full time at a construction
Okay.
general contractor, and was kind of always doing stuff on the side, like anything in the house, drywall,
Right,
trim
right,
work,
right.
flooring. Um, but then I really started listening to podcasts and stuff, and really wanted to niche down, and came across the idea of like deck staining,
Okay.
and I already built tons of decks, so it kind of worked out. Um, Wanted to just specialize in one thing because it's easier to train someone to do one thing
Smart.
than it is a
Yeah.
thousand things. Uh, so after doing it on the side, well, I established 21. After doing it on the side for like a year and a half, I was making more money on the weekends than I was at my full-time job. So after having like a couple months of work, like a month and a half of work, kind of made that leap, and
Yeah,
it's been
buddy.
history ever since.
Yeah, man. Well, welcome to the abyss, brother.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Never going back.
Don't go back, man. It's not as scary on this side, man. It's not.
Yeah, yeah,
It's funny, man. Typically, most people think, man, I wish I would have done that sooner, right?
yeah,
You know. So,
exactly.
so tell me, man, what's going on in the business? There's some admin issues, a little bit of production. You got, of course, sales. Dude, thank you for listening to the pod, dude. It says here that you listened to 300 possibly of the episodes. So
I try to count, and I lost track after
that's
300.
nuts,
So,
dude. And it means the
but
world to me, and I hope it's been incredibly valuable for you, man. That's why I
no,
do.
yeah, keep doing it, man. I don't know how you do it, but
I
keep
don't know
doing it,
either.
man.
Nah, man. Honestly, I tell people this, like these breakthrough sessions, my schedule's nuts. But like when I have
Yeah,
one of these, I'm like, this is like where I get to like enjoy every bit of
yeah,
it.
it's
So
very rewarding, I
it
bet.
is. Dude, it's super rewarding. So, all right, well, where do you want to start, man? So tell me about the organization. Is it just you?
So it's really just me. Last year I would have like friends help me here and there,
Okay.
kind of under the table a little bit. This year I kind of went a little bit of the sub route. I have two buddies that are doing their own thing as well.
Okay.
So they help me off and on when I need the help, but mostly I am in the field doing most of
Okay.
the work. But
Is
some of the
is
bigger like,
is the lead flow predictable? I mean, being as though you're doing deck restoration, obviously that entails mostly you're doing a lot of staining. I'm sure you're doing
yeah.
staining. You're doing like tell me what how predictable is your lead flow? Because it's kind of concerning. I'll be honest with you.
So when I first established, Angie's Lead was huge on my success. I had lots of
What was
success
the
with Angie's
category?
Leads. Deck builder and deck cleaning and staining. There's
Okay.
two different categories.
Okay.
So I would say like it's about 50-50 between deck staining slash restoration and then new
Okay.
build slash composite.
Okay.
Composite jobs are nice because the margins are higher and stuff, but the jobs take a lot longer. So there's a whole month where I'm kind of having some trouble with some cash flow and stuff. And the staining jobs are awesome because it's easy, cheap labor, faster turnover. Um, Biggest issue I'm having right now is pretty much catching up with my office work. Just being in the field so much and then coming home, staying up till 1, 2 o'clock every night gets kind of old. So there's some days where like Fridays, like usually Fridays are my estimate days. So I'm
Okay.
driving around like crazy. And then
Yeah.
Saturday, if I have time to work on it, but then it's like
Yeah.
Monday comes around and I'm kind of like back in the field and catching up on work at night.
Right.
So I've been trying to get better at like time blocking and stuff, but pricing on the spot is something I would really like to do. I was looking at the new thing you just came out with for the I forget what it's
Production
called.
rates?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean that's
Um,
gonna be good for staining, not so much. How much? What's the percentage of staining versus install and building that you're doing?
I would say it's like 50-50.
Really?
Um,
Yeah.
my bread and butter, I would like to be the staining because I
I
can
mean,
hire.
it's gonna be hard for you to price. What most people do in this space is they assign allowances to materials, or they just charge labor and then bill for materials. That's the play because unless you're trying to mark up your materials, I mean, you can, but the play, and especially when I sell flooring, is I'm selling you labor. You buy the labor, I'm going to bill you for the flooring, or you buy the flooring yourself. I don't care what you do. I don't care who
Yeah.
buys it, right? That's going to slow you down. So how have you been doing it? Have you been trying to sell the materials along with the labor?
So yeah. So I have a pretty good spreadsheet for the composite stuff where I like did all the math and divided
Right.
by square foot. So I have like a square foot number and a
Okay.
spreadsheet. I type in square foot. I type in how many railing spaces. And
Okay.
then from there, there's three different levels of composite. Well, wood's the cheapest. And then there's three different levels of composite.
Okay.
And the railings, there's like wood railing and then like three different levels of vinyl railing and then three
Right.
different levels of like metal railing.
Right.
So like when I'm sending these composite quotes out, I send out all the different options so they can pick and choose. Um, but it's just like the estimating process just sometimes takes so long, and I would like the price on the spot, but lots of times it's some things are unique and things are taking me a while, and then
Okay.
I'm doing 4 hours on an estimate and then don't get the job and it just repeats.
Sure.
Um, but I understand like you're not gonna get every job and stuff, and I would say every 2 out of 10 jobs I would probably get.
Yeah. And why do you think that is?
Composite, on the composite side, it's just really expensive. On the staining side, it's a little bit easier to estimate and stuff. It's a little bit cheaper.
I mean, when you
Once you get,
project out, honestly speaking here, like, do you think that this business is sustainable? Like, do you really think that like there's that much of a demand for what you're doing to be able to keep multiple crews busy, having 4 to 5 jobs going on at once if you nail the system?
I think so, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Um,
you said Angie Lee's was doing really well for you. What else has been doing well for you?
my Google presence has been a lot better over the past years. This year, I haven't used any NZ leads or anything. It's
Okay.
mostly all Google.
Okay.
Barely any word to mouth. I've only been
Okay.
around a short time, so.
Okay.
But I haven't really dove into like Facebook ads or anything. I've been trying to just focus on like the Google stuff, and if I
Right.
really need to, I can push the Angie's.
Right.
And just doing like the natural social media
Your
posts and
business
stuff like that.
is incredibly varied. And I think one of the problems is that you're spending too much time on design. Ultimately, what that requires is a consultation, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
and you're giving all that away for free. And there's a time and a place for that. But I think there's room for a few things. First of all, technology, right? I mean, ultimately, I'm sure there's some good technology out there that can help visualize what people are using. Are you using any sort of technology to help with that? Like
So
with
yeah,
your
I do some 3D mockups.
okay,
I try not to do it because it takes a lot of time. But if a customer is really interested and I kind of know they'll probably pick me, I do give them some 3D mockups and stuff.
what is your pre-qualification on the phone line?
See, that's the thing. I don't really have a pre-qualification. It's a little bit of a sidetrack, but I also started a Christmas light division in the winter last year, and I did things a little bit differently there, where I did pre-qualify.
Okay,
It's a little bit easier then because it's like, all right, we have a minimum job order of 600 with an average size of 1500. Are you still interested?
sure.
And then if they said yes or no, go from there. Awesome. That was a great business. I can't wait to do that again in the winter. This one, it's like most of the times people just have like a deck that's getting old and they just want an idea of like uh what they can do either to restore it or new build. So which usually involves me
So
going
my
there.
my suggestion is this. First of all, everything you should everything that you need to be doing right now is to streamline this experience. You're now that you told me you have 3 businesses: deck restoration, deck installation, and now Christmas lights. And you're one human, dude.
Yeah.
Slow down, okay? You got to master one. I'm serious. You
Yeah, I
know,
hear you.
so even if you just did deck staining, you'd probably be a happier person. Okay.
For sure.
I mean, are you really like hitting home runs on these deck building? I mean, and here's the thing, like, do you really like make a lot of money off of building decks? Your cash
Yes
flow,
and no.
it takes too
When
long.
it takes too long on the project, I'm obviously losing money, and it seems like almost every project's doing that. Even with like I'm pretty good at like with my 50% margins, like taking my labor times two, material times two. So it kind of helps me if the job goes a little bit longer. But then again, I'm losing profit. I just find myself just
The
on the
problem
hamster
is,
wheel.
man, this is your first business, right? It sounds like, I think. And the problem is that this is a very like it's chaos. I mean, it is, dude. It's like, you're hoping to get staining jobs. When you get a staining job, you feel happy. You're like, yes, like I can nail this. Good money, good profit, in and out, collect the cash and go. Okay. Then you get a deck restoration call and your cortisol level shoots up higher than it normally should because you're like, okay, are you going to hire me? Like, I'm going to waste all this energy. I got to stop what I'm doing. First, I'm trying to pre-qualify you on the phone. You don't even know what you want. Okay. You want me to
Exactly.
look at this wooden deck. Okay. There's a couple ways we can go here. I think the first way is for you to start doing virtual things. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for photos. Are you doing that?
So as of the past like month, I've been really pushing that.
Okay.
Some jobs, it's like some people are like you said, like they don't really know what they want, and like
Right.
they'll be like, oh, some boards are rotten here and there, blah blah blah. It's like they give me square footage and stuff and that, but some things are kind of like a lot. Sometimes it's like repair work, but they also want to see how much it is to replace the whole deck and stuff.
Sure.
So I'm giving them
Sure.
all types of prices.
All types of prices. Replacing a whole deck, like we talked about, is that your gold star service? Like, is that where you make? Is that where and here's my rule of thumb: is it easy to sell? Is it easy to market? And is it easy to produce? Okay, like the business is about survival, and you might like doing this, but it might not be the thing that's going to take you to the place of freedom. Right? You're in this for freedom. I'm sure you don't like building decks that much. Like, I don't think
Not
it's
that.
you want to make money. You
Yeah.
know, like you want like I'm being honest. We got to be honest here because like the thing is like you lit up about Christmas lights because it was easy to market, easy to sell, easy to produce. You light up about stain, easy to market, easy to sell, easy to produce. Okay, what I would do is I would get rid of deck building. I would not even do it. I would do repair because guess what repair leads to? Staining, right?
Yeah.
The only way you do a repair is if you stain the whole thing, sand it down and stain the whole. That's included. We don't just replace boards. Homeowner's not going to be staining. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then outline those expectations. Say, happy to do a repair, but we do have a minimum. Typically, with our repair jobs, we require a full stain on the entire deck. We'll seal the whole thing, right? So you need to teach your market how to buy from you. That's very important because you're being thrown in all different directions, right? Like deck building, save that. Like, I wouldn't even do it anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
have you thought about just like not doing that anymore?
So it's just I like it in the aspect of the margins are better, bigger checks,
Well,
but it's just the
it
whole
looks that way.
yeah,
From
but the cash yeah.
but think about there's this concept that you need to understand. It's called opportunity cost, right? It's what you're giving up in exchange, right? And think about it this way: if you have 5 stain jobs at 2,000 a pop, paraphrasing here, and a deck job at 10,000, you know what I'm saying? One deck job, you're one person. The problem is that if you were a general contractor and you were doing 5 to 6 different remodeling jobs, exterior remodeling jobs, all right, that makes sense. And the reason why that works is because the cash flow comes from all the different jobs at different stages of the job, right?
Yes.
But but you have one thing that you have to like bulldog through in order to get your cash flow, which means you're not confident enough to hire help because you don't even know if you can pay them.
Yep. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But if you have stain jobs, right? I would even say, man, venture into fence staining. You know,
Yeah. We do that too.
maybe even fence installation, right? That's a more
Yeah.
predictable. That's a more.
Yeah. I quote fences too. We do decks and fences.
So you're going to install fences?
I haven't installed any. I quoted them, but
Would
it's
you,
just mostly
if given the
staining.
opportunity?
Yeah, I've done it, but I probably only done like a couple compared to how much deck staining.
Okay.
The whole fence. I mean, fences are expensive, obviously, to build. But even staining can be a little bit expensive. So a lot of times people don't end up choosing to rebuild their fence or whatever, and even sometimes they don't choose to stain their fence. But
Dude, the thing is that like the goal here is to build momentum because there's this thing that has to happen. You're going to be stuck in the same position unless you make a drastic decision, whether that's to remove the installation entirely. You already made a big mistake. You're like, Google's working, so I'm going to shut off Angie leads. That is not a investor move. That's a silly move because that's like pretty much saying this stock made me a lot of money, but this other stock's making me money, so I'm not going to invest in that stock anymore.
yeah, and I love Angie Leads, and every once in a while I'll go in there and like accept a few jobs. It's just kind of the cash flow. I don't even have money to freaking put into that right now because I'm so tight with
Sure,
these
sure.
composite jobs. And with the
Yeah,
composite jobs, even with the 50% down, most of the time I need a little
You're
bit more
burning up
sometimes for material.
you're burning up the materials, right?
Yeah.
And it's also how you facilitate that exchange. You need to stop. If you're going to continue this, stop buying the materials. That's not your job. You can sell the labor, get 50% on the labor, and then bill them the whole bill for the materials. So I'm charging 10K. It's going to be 5K down. And then I'm going to bill you for materials. So now you covered the cash flow for the labor,
I like
and then
that.
they pay for the materials, so it doesn't look like a monster deposit. It's the same thing, but you got to be able to frame it in a way where the customer says, "Oh, that makes sense." If you had
Because
to, I mean, if you had to do that, if you're going to take it, you say, "Hey, here's how we do it. This is the labor cost. Okay, I'm allocating X amount of time for this. Okay, I'm going to give you what we believe to be an allowance amount for the materials. Generally speaking, in my experience, the materials for what you're trying to do are going to be about 6K. Okay." What we need to do, and this is a smart play on your part. You need to go to Home Depot and get a line of credit. Okay? Get a line of credit for 10 to 15K.
they only allow me to get 1,000 right now.
If and sometimes
Yeah.
that's the case, but let's get to a
Yeah.
point where you can do that, because it'll even be more impressive if you buy the materials and finance them through Home Depot and then give them the receipt. Say, "Hey, I paid for these materials. Here's the receipt." Okay? Option number 2 is you go to Home Depot, put in the entire order. Okay? Tell them, "Hold this for me." Get the ticket and then give it to the customer. Say, "Hey, here's your entire order from Home Depot.
I
Go
like that.
go buy it."
I've done that a handful of times for like friends and families because I didn't want to upcharge them on material,
Sure.
and it worked smooth. So now you're saying it like that, I actually love that idea because it
Yeah.
takes a lot of stress for me with the material because material is crazy, and then I'm already paying labor
Well, the
for
thing
that
is
whole.
that you're still guessing on materials. You know you are. I mean,
But yeah, those margins help. Like the 50% margins help, but like you said, it adds
yeah,
up and
man.
stuff.
Just but I think the decision needs to be like, how can we get you in a momentum swing? Now, watch this. What if you just niche down on staining, right? Or even painting, dude. I bet you'll paint something, won't you?
No.
You won't touch paint?
Interior, no, I'm good. I have
Well,
enough of that.
exterior stuff. Would you do any exterior?
Exterior, I have no knowledge of that, so I would have
Okay, that's
to
okay. So the
research that
thing
and
is
stuff.
that, like, my thought is this, dude. If you just narrow down to staining and repair, which should capitalize on that. The thing is you need to build just enough momentum to where you can hire help and predict the results, right? Then, if you get to a position where you're flowing, that's when you take on those deck building projects, dude. Because
Okay.
I imagine this 6 months from now, maybe you've generated 150 to 200,000 in stain work and repair work and maybe some fence staining and things like that. Okay. You're at a point now where you built trust with an employee that can do that work for you while you're not there. Now, when you go and do those estimates, you're a little more focused. You're not rushed. You can sit in the car for 45 minutes and work it up, not thinking I got to get back to my job, which maybe that happens. I know you allocate certain days to that. That might be happening now. But then again, you're doing your estimates on Saturday. You're exhausted. Monday, you got to wake up and you got to go do another job. That's
Exactly.
mentally taxing, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
I'm
you're shifting. You're probably going nuts.
I'm
It's
burnt out.
Thursday.
Yeah.
It's Thursday. What's going on right now? Do you have any jobs going on right now?
Uh, I don't have anyone working for me right now. I just have a
I'm
staying
talking about,
job after this. I
you
have
have a stain job.
like six estimates tomorrow.
6 estimates. Out of those 6 estimates, how many are staining?
I would probably say like 50% again.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people are really interested in getting composite quotes.
So
Like a lot.
composite quotes. When you say composite, you mean the type of, like, swapping out the wood for you know, a
Yeah,
composite type.
resurfacing pretty much. Yeah, taking the wood off and putting composite
So
boards.
you keep the frame of the deck, and then you just replace the boards.
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's a killer deal. But then again, that composite get stained? Like, can it absorb stain? How do you handle that?
No, the composite's just
It comes stained, but
it's
you have
it's
to
like
match.
a plastic kind of
Okay,
material.
you have to match the frame of the deck to it, or no?
Now the frame, usually in the outside frame, I put a white fascia board, like a PVC fascia board.
Okay.
and then composite on top, vinyl railings.
Okay, so you're redoing all the railings, like you're anything that is existing can't be seen anyway, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, I mean, that's, I could see how that can get kind of tricky, but also it's a good business, man. I could see why, people would want that. There's a lot here, dude, but I think that if you can figure out how to separate the materials from the labor, you might put yourself in a better position financially because you need the
I
cash
like
flow.
that.
How long do
Yeah, I
these
like
jobs
that.
usually take? A week?
The composite jobs, some can take a week, some can take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, depending on the size. And
Really?
and it's mostly because I'm doing it with on my own and as well
Okay.
with like one or two people helping me.
So, are you outlining a payment plan in terms of like a draw schedule for customers?
So I don't have anything of this is something I need to work on. I
Yeah.
don't
How
have
do you handle
anything.
the money? If it's a long job, tell me what that would usually look like.
So kind of like if I go to a stage where like midway in the job, I'll try to ask for the next 25%. So 50% down up front. Halfway through the job, I ask for another 25%. And then by the time we're finished by a job, I get the other 25%, and that's pretty much gone because of labor and all the other stuff.
This is why you're running into this is because you can only produce one job at a time.
Yeah, with
And the
the
cash,
composite.
right? So I think it would be wise for you if you can find someone that can do the stain work and you just keep managing the composite installation flow. And if
Gotcha.
he's
Yeah.
not busy, he helps you. I think two jobs going on at one time will save your business, you
Yeah.
know, and it would be someone full time. And that's new to you because you've never hired anyone full time employee before, I imagine, right?
Nope.
Okay. So let's talk about that. You've listened to my podcast, so you know most of what I'm going to say, you know, but it's important for you to understand that, like, dude, like, this is the goal, man. There's always going to be that risk of should I hire someone? You might be looking at your bank account thinking, no way. But it also has to do with the fact. No, you're good. Yeah, it's okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me
here you
okay?
go. I had a phone
It all,
call and like it.
no,
You're
it's
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it also has to do with like the fact that, like, dude, you're gonna run into this even at the next level of your business. Is like, is it the right time to hire? So this you got to look at it as like a reinvestment into your business. You got to be the investor. You got to say, you know what? This next job I get, I'm going to ask for a higher deposit so I have a little cash. And then I'm going to position my employee to start in 2 weeks and line it up to where I know I'm going to get paid so I can pay him that first check. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of have
Mhm.
to stagger it out until, it's going to be a weird transition, man. Have you thought about putting out an ad? I mean, you
I
know,
think about it all the time. I think about it all the time, but it's just I've been so tight. I have two kids. I have a mortgage and stuff. So like I've been so tight with things. I haven't had time to save money to kind of prepare for that. But like you said, if I have enough work lined up, enough deposits lined up, I can kind of
well, an
plan
employee
for
is
that
going to make you
employee.
money.
Exactly.
Like the employee, like that's almost like you have to buy in, right? There's always a buy in, and like not putting out an ad is silly because I think that there's some motivation that's going to be created there when you have a good applicant. Let me ask you this, ready? If I moved to your area right now and I had your number from a business breakthrough we did 5 years ago, right? And I'm down on my luck, man. It's just strip jobs tanked. I'm not doing well. And I'm like, you know what? I would love to get into deck restoration. And I call you and you're at the same spot you're at now in your business, same amount of money, same everything. I said, hey, brother, can you give me some work? What would you say to me?
I wouldn't be able to afford it full time. I could say something about you can help me part time kind of deal.
Okay, but you'd find something for me to do.
Yeah, I would.
Because
Yeah.
probably I'm gonna add to your operation. I'm gonna add value. You're gonna be like, you know what? I don't have any money, but you know what? You can come part time and I'll figure it out. Okay, dude, that right there is what drives business growth. Is you understanding that you are the facilitator of supply and demand, right? If you have really good supply, and that would be the worker who does really good work that doesn't need to be supervised, that can produce a result without you physically being there, and then you can find the demand, a really good client that'll pay really good money for a good result, and you connect those two things, you have now entered into a different ball game, bro. But you can't go into that ball game unless you take the risk and pay the ticket, and the price of admission is you got to be a good recruiter.
Yeah.
And you being apprehensive of even putting out an ad, you need practice there. You've heard me say this. I know I
Yeah.
said it before.
I know.
Like you have to at least see what's out there, dude. There could be someone right now that's hating their boss that would love to do deck restoration, or someone that's moving into town. And maybe they help you even further and say, I also install this stuff. So you have a hybrid.
Yeah.
And right now it might look like a cost, but guess what happens? Your job time shrink down, the cash flow goes up, and you can do one thing and he can do another thing. That's a reality. But you won't, dude, if you don't do this, you're not gonna you're gonna be even more. Yeah, how old are your kids?
I have a 6-year-old boy and a 1.5-year-old
You're tired.
daughter.
You're tired.
I'm so tired, man. I come
Tired.
home, see him for 2 hours, and
Is that the life you want, dude?
not at all. It's
No
stressful,
way.
man.
You're exhausted, bro.
I'm
Like,
so exhausted.
but don't you took a risk quitting your job? Wasn't that risky? Does your significant other work?
She just started working. She was a stay-at-home mom for a while. She started working a couple months ago.
Okay. Did she have to go to work?
No, it was more so some other personal issues.
Sure.
She kind of wanted to like be more independent and stuff. So
Okay. Okay. So I imagine that if you get this business figured out, it would benefit the household, right? I mean,
for sure, yeah.
and wouldn't it? It probably takes stress off or pressure off. I mean, these are real situations that men go through, dude, starting a business, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to be honest with you, man. You can't stop taking risks. You got to be willing to lose it. And you're
I
not
hear
playing,
you.
you're playing small, man. You're just like, okay, I'm going to do this work, and like, get the ad out, dude. Get it out. So, because guess what? If you get a great applicant that calls your business and says, hey, man, I just came into town. I've been doing deck restoration since I was knee high to a duck ass. Okay. An old Southern saying, and someone that has just like done this stuff. And it's like, hey, man, I'd love to work with you. I have a lot of experience. I've been doing it for X amount of years. Do you have any work? And you'd say, yes, I do. And you go meet him and you go through the process of figuring out what he's about. And guess what? You're going to feel progress. You don't feel any progress right now. You're just treadmilling.
For sure, for sure. Um, should I just jump and kind of hire him full time? Should I start with like a part-time worker or just make the leap and try to do full time and just hustle and grind?
Right now, you have no pressure. The only pressure you have is the money you make. And you can forgive yourself. It's like if you don't go to the gym, no one knows about it.
Yeah.
You don't run, no one knows about it. It's like, it's between me and you, Tanner. We'll just not tell anyone, So you got to understand, man, that like if you know that someone's meeting you at the gym and they're waiting for you to work out, that's going to move you to make a different type of decision. Do I let this person down and look like an idiot? Or do I show up to the gym and keep my promises? Business owners that win keep their promises to themselves first and then to everyone else, right?
I like that.
But you got to position yourself to prepare for the challenge of keeping promises to other people by actually making the promises to the people, And there was times where, dude, like I didn't know where I would find the work. I had one job on a Monday and nothing else, maybe 3 or 4 employees at the time. And it was Thursday. And if it were just me painting, I'd say, all right, well, I guess, we're in trouble. I mean, we'll drum something up the following week. Brother, I've been in business for 8 years. I never had a day off of work. Never. And most of that was because I did not want to have a conversation with people that I told would have full-time work, that they didn't have any work because they have families to feed. I want the pressure. And through that, you get the end result, which is a business that runs mostly without you, income that comes in every single week, and the freedom to do what you want with your time. If that's a worthy cause, you got to be willing to give something up for that. And you're not even putting out the ad. I don't want you're asking me, should I do full-time or part? Bro, you know the answer to this. Don't ask those questions. Just be certain. You got to build that confidence in yourself, dude. You have done a lot already.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you go back to your job, right?
Never going back. But yeah, worst case scenario, yeah.
Never going back, right? So you have a rule that you set for yourself that says, I'm never going to go back. Okay. So there's a baseline there. Well, guess what? When you bring on an employee, there's a new baseline created when he tells you he has 2 kids and he says, I need work. And you say, I'll never allow you to not have work. We'll find something to do. And I've talked with people that said, hey, we didn't have work and I'm having them paint my house.
Yeah. True.
If that's the 3rd or 4th paint job this year, we might need to talk about some marketing. But at the end of the day, man, that's the type of leader you want to be if you want people to buy into you, man. Not everyone's like that. They'll just say, hey, man, no work today. Sorry, you're not making money. That's not okay. That is not okay with me. So you need to make sure that's your new baseline. And you can't do that unless you enter into the game. I'm not saying you need to pay someone a full paycheck tomorrow, but you need to get an ad out so you can facilitate the experience. It takes a few weeks to land a huge hire, and you need to make it seem like you got your stuff together.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know you don't even have Gusto set up, but you're going to get that set up too. Okay.
So I've started Gusto to pay like my subs, but this is as of like last month. But I will definitely use Gusto when I hire someone.
It's get it prepared for, you got to learn that. So at the end of the day, you want people to feel like that getting hired by you is progress. You don't want someone to come into your business thinking you don't have your ducks in a row. And there's been many times where in my business, both businesses, I didn't have my ducks in a row and I got them in a row before the person started. That's normal. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have them in a row, but the fact of the matter is I knew they were coming. So that's my focus, is to make sure that when they get here, there's a system for them to work within and they're not questioning if I have my stuff together, because I ultimately impact their destiny, dude. That's a very big responsibility. They need to know that you got your stuff together. So you tell me you don't have Angie leads. Like, the thing is, I want you to focus on reinvesting back into this business. You need to outline what you're going to do. You need to create a menu of what you do, because it can get out of control. You heard me say this analogy, I'm sure. You go to a restaurant and it's a steakhouse and you ask for over easy eggs and bacon and hash browns. Don't be the restaurant that just bends to everyone's request.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to piss them off or you don't want to lose the business.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
Another question too. So like you talked about the consultations and estimates. And I've been trying to push the free virtual estimates and then doing like a $25 consultation fee if you want me to do in person.
Never do that. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that just sounds so. That's because you don't have your ducks in a row. If you were estimating full time, it'd be a pleasure for you. Now, I want you to understand that there's a difference between wasting time, and setting expectations. And I think I did did you listen to the episode I did with Tom Reber on here?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, I only did one, but
okay, then I did listen to it. Okay.
Go back into that. This guy outlines his Shin Fu method, and it's a powerful method of just outlining the expectations of what you provide, how you say it matters. So if you call me for a deck restoration estimate, the first thing I need to do is categorize what category you're in. So are you in the planning and, research process? Are you close to getting this done? What is the time frame you want this done? We're coming into, the seasonality of your area. So we want to make sure that we're investing time in people that are close to making a decision, right? Have you got any prices for this project, or am I the first estimate, right? That's another powerful question to help you understand. Are you setting the market or are you verifying the market, right? Like, I want to know where I'm at. If this was my area of expertise, okay. Say the third aspect is, okay, here's how we do it. We do this all the time. Typically, the way we want it to be done is you're going to send in a few photos of your deck, okay? We're going to review those internally, and then we're going to call you back with some feedback, okay? And we can have a good conversation about this. So when you go through the callback, this is where you set financial expectations. So looking at this deck, we have 2 options here. We can do a full tear down, or we can do option B. Typically, full tear down ranges between 10 and 20 grand. That's usually assuming you're going with high-end materials. Don't worry, we charge you labor and then bill you at cost for materials, right? Option B is a repair XYZ. That typically ranges between $3,000 and $10,000. Which of those two options work best for you? Oh, definitely the $3,000 to $10,000 option. Fantastic. Does Tuesday work good? I'd love to come by and show you some samples.
Gotcha.
Do you understand how that saves your life?
Yeah. Yeah. Pre-qualification is huge. I just haven't really figured out how to do it with
Well,
the
the
different stuff.
problem is you can't pre-qualify on the first phone call. That's the big problem, okay? Because if you're trying to do that on the first phone call, which you might be doing because you're busy, and you're spitting out this weird $25 fee, like
Yeah.
that,
That was just like as of last week, and
yeah,
only one customer
never do
kind of
that
did
again. I would be like, what? Here, do you need 30? Get you
it.
home? You know? Oh God. So the thing about it is when you got to set, hey, we do a consultation call. Are you using Drip Jobs? Are you a Drip Jobs user?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All
I
right,
love
good.
drip jobs, man.
Thank you. Okay.
And the
So
energy thing is awesome too. That's one of the reasons why I picked drip jobs.
beautiful,
Drip jobs,
beautiful.
yeah.
So the thing is you can frame that in Drip Jobs with the drips. So you can, in Drip Jobs, the booking form has a photo upload option.
Okay.
So if you
Okay.
go there, you can require a photo to be uploaded in the booking form. So if they book with you, they have to upload photos. And then you can create drip messages that explain the process of how to buy from you. So in other words, when they come in as a request, thank you so much for the request. We are reviewing your photos. The next step is a quick consultation call. Please let me know if you prefer mornings or afternoons, today or tomorrow. And they'll respond. Today, this afternoon. Perfect. This afternoon, you call them and say, hi, got your photos. We're looking at everything. And that's where you create the scenarios. And what you're doing is you're kind of creating a gap. You're kind of creating an expectation gap between what their expectations are and what it really is. And whatever that threshold is, it's just going to create a better experience for both of you. You're not going to feel like you're wasting your time. And in this area, I highly suggest it has to be a strong pre-qualification. With painting, for me, it's not as serious, but with yours, I mean, there's a lot of time invested in sourcing materials, figuring out costs. But what we discussed today was isolating the materials, because that's such a big variable. You can create an allowance. You could create a ballpark. You could say, hey, look, in previous experiences, we calculate this. Generally speaking, you're at around $5,000 for materials. Our labor cost is $4,000. Okay. The materials are variable, and we're going to give you a receipt from Home Depot. We're going to order them at Home Depot, and you pay Home Depot directly.
Okay. So a little bit sidetracked. The Home Depot thing I love. Home Depot does the volume price savings where any order over 1,500, you get some discounts. So sometimes like I'll show the customer the Home Depot order and say it's $5,000, but with my volume savings discount, it might be like 4,500 or like 4,000. Do I give them the $5,000 or give them the 45 or 4,000, like with my discount? Like,
Sell the materials at cost. Whatever the
okay,
cost is, it makes you look good, and increase your labor price. Your labor price should feel uncomfortable. Okay? It should
gotcha.
honestly sound uncomfortable when you sell the labor price. They don't know it's just you doing it, and you don't need to say it's just you doing it. Our team.
Yeah. I always say stuff like that to make it
Always
seem bigger,
we
but
come in, everything is about perception.
yep.
Okay? Your job is to match or exceed the fulfillment in whatever you're promising, and that takes some time. Bro, when I first sold Drip Jobs, anyone listening to this, dude, that thing was not what I was promising, but I knew I'd get us there. And I had to internally, I felt a little bad sometimes because I was over. You have to do that sometimes. Okay? When that thing was sending the wrong follow-ups at the wrong time, I had to say my apologies, man. I had to face it, but then it made me a lot more motivated to get it right. And that was always my intention. And I think we're there now. But the goal here is to teach you that you might have to overpromise and underdeliver to get to a point where you can underpromise and overdeliver. And that's a period of time you have to go through in business. You're not just always have good intent, always look out for people and just give your best, make sure they're happy, which I don't doubt you do. Get
For
the ad
sure,
out,
yeah.
and spend the next hour of your time creating a framework of how people buy from you. Watch this, okay? Let me show you something. You got to do this, man. You have to do this. If this doesn't get done, you're going to be screwed. So let's see if you can see this, dude. All right. So hold on. We got option A. We got option B, right? Okay. And then you're just going to do like a freaking thing here. And I'm going to just show you something real quick. This is going to be super like, 3,000 to 10,000. And then this one's like 2,000 to like, let's see, like 5,000. All right. Can you see this? See if it lets you see that. You see that?
Yeah, yep, yep.
That's it, bro. That's the business. It's either option A or option B. That's how we do it. Anything outside of that, we don't do. I don't want my dentist telling me that he can, or my general freaking doctor telling me he can work on my teeth. He's not a freaking specialist. Just be honest with me and send me to a dentist.
I like that.
Anything else, man? Before we depart?
You kind of answered a lot of questions about, one question was like include labor in the price or keep labor separate. You kind of answered that with the composite side, at least. With the staining side, do I keep it?
There's some stain, dude. Just you work all that into.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And then like, so I always try to under promise and over deliver, but it usually doesn't work out that way. So like anytime I do get a phone call or something, I try to make it seem like we are kind of busy, like we're 1 to 2 months out, blah, blah, blah. But depending on the project, we might be able to move you forward. Do I say that or just kind of just take it as it is?
That's a negative experience off the bat. Who the heck wants to wait that long for anything?
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. You just need to have a process. It's like, dude, think of the restaurant, okay? You ever go to a restaurant before?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when you go in there, there's a process in place. We can go through it. You greet the host. The host says, wait 1 second. I'm going to find you a table. You go in. You sit at the table, okay? Then someone comes up to you. They take your drink orders. Generally speaking, you get a menu. And then after they're done, they take your food. And then you get your food. You go through the experience of eating. You get the check. You pay. You leave. It's the same thing every single time. And everyone agreed with this in all restaurants. Now, some restaurants are stubborn and they want you to seat yourself. Okay. But you still get the rest of the experience, right?
Yeah.
You need to create a process, a cookie cutter process of how you intake and fulfill. Intake and fulfill. Intake and fulfill, right? So that has to do with your okay, we got to first categorize who's calling. Hey, are you looking for restoration or staining? Staining category. Cool. What is our process for staining? Excellent. We love doing stain jobs. Typically, we can come out on Fridays. We'll go over everything with you. Have you chosen a stain color before? Or have you chosen a stain color yet? Would you like me to bring a color deck? Yeah? Awesome. See you there. Got it. Because you can close those. Easy. Yeah. Oh, this is a restoration. Fantastic. Have you gotten any quotes yet for it? No, you're the first. Okay, no problem. How long are you looking until you get this project done? Oh, as soon as possible. Fantastic. All right, cool. So typically, here's where we get into our system. Typically, how we do this, I'm going to send you a link. I'd love for you to fill out all your information. That's the drip jobs form. There's an area in that form to upload photos. Please submit 3 or 4 photos of the deck. Once we receive all the information, we're going to call you back for a consultation call. And we're going to go over the options for you. How does that sound?
I like that. So right now my booking form is on my website. Book a request, kind of ask the simple questions. I did edit reviveyourdeck.com.
Revive what?
Revive Your Deck.
Cool. Good domain.
Thank you.
Revive deck restoration, book requests. Got it. Okay, cool. You're just using the standard form. You got to customize this form.
Gotcha.
So in drip jobs, you can go to the booking form section, customize the questions, and we can get those qualification questions I just asked you on that form. Are you looking for staining, restoration, rebuild? And then are you in the planning and budgeting phase? Have you gotten an estimate yet from another company, or No, you're the first estimate. Awesome. If this is a deck restoration, please submit 3 to 4 photos of the deck, or you could just get photos of everyone's deck. Please submit 3 to 4 photos of the deck. They can't book it without sending you photos. So you're already speeding up that process. You got to
You're
look
a
in.
genius.
I just
That's really
been doing
smart.
this a while, bro. It's all the same. The thing is why this is easy for me is because it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just, it needs to be easy to sell, easy to market, easy to produce. And for the customer, it needs to be easy to buy. And right then, if you can figure all that out, you will be ahead of the curve. You will win the game. But the confusion is what's causing the frustration. And the problem is if you don't have predictability, everything I told you, the goal of that is just predictability. You need to know, hey, okay, cool, we have a process for this. Restoration, stain. Planning and budgeting, ready to go. Got estimate, never got an estimate before. Okay.
I like
Have we
that.
done a consultation call? So you should create a stage and drip jobs that says consultation call complete. And then you can send an email. So if you message our team, and we're about to release this, we can add your own stages. But you can send a message to our team to have them add that for you. And then you create a follow-up message that says, thank you so much for meeting us with the consultation call. In that call, we outlined expectations. Please let us know if you're prepared for an official quote by clicking the link below, and we can book a time.
Wow. Okay.
So this way you're only allocating your physical time to people that already understand the expectations, and you're not wasting that drive, not sitting there doing things that you could be doing from afar.
Yeah. Like tomorrow, I have an estimate. It's an hour away,
Oh,
hour
you know what I
back.
would do if I were you?
And
would.
I called her and I was trying to figure out like the issues and stuff, and she gave me like no information. She's like,
Well,
I don't know how to explain it, blah blah blah. It's easier for you to come here. And I just like, all right, like I'll make it happen. But it's
yeah,
2 hours of driving when I could be using that 2 hours
no,
to.
you don't even know what her budget is.
Yeah, that too.
You
Yeah,
don't even know. Like, she might think that what you're about, like, she might say, I'm not spending more than $1,000. Some people have a number. I'm not spending more than $1,000 on this. And you're about to drive your tail all the way over there. What you should be doing is practicing with this lady. And you should call her and say, hey, Miss Jones, it's, I'd like to go over what our expectations are. I know we had a chance to talk, so typically I just like to know what your goal is for the project, and say, generally speaking, we have 2 options for you. The first option is a repair and replace. Second option is a full restoration. Typically, in terms of cost, we like to outline this: option A, option B, and then see what happens. And she might say, I typically like option A because that my budget's only $3,000. I'm selling the house. And you say, great. So now at least you're driving there knowing that $3,000 is the baseline.
gotcha.
I think you gotta create that. And then the thing is like, dude, get the ad out. Don't forget that, man. I really hope you do that. I hope you get the ad out.
I will
Okay.
for sure.
I just put out a new hiring course. Did you see my school?
No, if you give me the
Yeah,
information, I would love that.
jump in it. It'll dude, it teaches you how to run the ad, teaches you where to put the ad, teaches you how to get the ad out, teaches you how to filter out the applicants. I mean, it's a hiring system that you can literally just plug in to your business. So I'll send you the link for it. I think it's one of the best hiring courses you'll find.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
One more question.
Sure.
So some debt companies in my area, they have like almost like a estimator on their site almost that like kind of gives them like a roundabout number, where they type in, their square footage, this and that,
I
kind
don't
of
like
spits
that
out a
at all.
number.
It's
Yeah,
just that's just like if I went to like I think the problem with that is it just doesn't, it lets the customer assume the value instead of you actually building the value.
I agree.
And
I agree.
in a home service exchange, it's all emotional, right? So if they're just looking at numbers, that just kills an opportunity. People
True.
will go to your website, see it's expensive, and leave, and you're missing
True.
out on a beautiful opportunity there. I would never do that. I think
Okay.
anybody pricing on their website is missing out on a lot of opportunity.
I like that. I like that.
So,
Yeah, thank you, man. It was really good.
well, is this helpful?
Yeah, super helpful.
And you've been listening for a while. There's some people that listen too that don't book a breakthrough, man. So I just
Yeah.
want you to
It,
maybe say something to that, man. Was it
yeah.
scary? Was it bad? Did
I was a
I
little
did I
nervous. I already knew some of the things you were going to say, so I didn't want to I want to kind of work on some things on my own first before I actually needed the help. And this last month, like in May, I grossed 24K, and last month I only grossed 8K because I was in
Sure.
that whole composite job for that whole. It messed up my whole month last month, and I was so busy with the composite job that I was slacking on my office work. You know, doing estimates on Friday. The weekend comes around, Monday I'm back on it. So I've been trying. I want to love the price in the spot. Like you said, if I'm in the car for 45 minutes, it's not a big deal. It's just like like you said, I kind of like the two categories. There's the rest of the staining and then like the composite side of it.
You need to
Staining
work
is,
on that pitch, dude. You should be role playing with your wife or a significant other, man. Like you really need to work on that pitch. So when people call you, it sounds like you know what you're talking about, you
yeah,
know, and you got to be confident in that and be willing to lose the business
yeah,
if you're not okay with the way that you're doing it because you know the outcome. If you're only selling 2 out of 10, 8 times, and it's again, this is about maximizing your time. Right now, you're not going to remove yourself from installation. I know that, you know, but you got to get to a point where you can. You can only do that with more sales, and more sales come from executing on, you know, qualified opportunity. And you're
yeah,
getting the lead flow. But I would also, as soon as you can afford it, turn Angie leads back on. Get as
yeah.
many leads as you can.
Only leads is awesome, especially with your automatic follow-ups. It's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
heck yeah.
People are always impressed and stuff. Yeah, I love
Love
the
it.
text messages and stuff. The appointment reminders are huge. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Good, man. Well, thank you
So
for supporting me, and I'll send you a link to the school if you want to join it, and keep me updated, man. Come back sometime.
yeah, definitely will. I appreciate it so much.
Of course, man. Talk to you soon.